Hey, today I want to talk about no money down in property investing. And if you are interested in buying property and you don't want to use any money at all, what is the truth behind that? So we're going to go over that. And if you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, please click the button and I'm going to be having a lot more videos like this. So the truth about no money down. Is it possible that you can buy something without using any money? What's the truth behind that? I think there have been a lot of misconceptions and debate over no money down. Is it legal? Is it possible? So I'm just going to show you how it really works. I think the most important thing to understand is that no money down doesn't mean you don't need to use any money to buy the property to begin with. And sometimes it means how quickly you get your money back. So the end result is that there's none of your money in the property deal and you still have some equity in the property afterwards, and it will go up in value and you can rent the property out. So that's the ideal outcome. So there are 4 general methods in which you can use no money down or as a result of it. So let me show you how it works. So number 1, we all know that we normally buy a property and we use a mortgage and we put in a deposit. The deposit could be 20% or 25% for an investment property, and the bank will loan you the rest. So you part with your cash. Let's say the house is worth 100,000 and you have to put in, let's say, 20,000 pounds of your own cash. So what normally happens is that you have to wait for the property to go up in value. So when the property goes up to maybe 130 or 140 or whatever amount it is, and it will take some time, then you will go back to the bank and say, hey, my house is now worth more. So you have a new valuation on the property. And so now what happens is the bank is probably going to loan you 80% again, but this time on the higher valuation. So if the property is worth 150,000 and the bank will loan you 80%, so that means, let me do some quick maths here. So 10% is 15, so 20% is 30,000. So that means now the bank will loan you 120,000 because 120,000 is 80% of 150. So now with the 120,000, you pay off your original mortgage of 80,000, and now you've got your deposit back of 20,000 and plus some money going into your pocket as well. This is what we call cash back. So the cash back is, in other words, additional borrowing. You have to make sure that every single month your interest, which is now higher, is going to be covered by the mortgage. So method number 1 is you have to wait for the capital appreciation, revalue the property, and then refinance based on a higher valuation. So that's the first one. So the second method is you actually buy the property today using a bank's mortgage, but you use something what we call OPM. That stands for other people's money. So if the property is worth 100,000, the bank will loan you 80,000 and you will borrow 20,000 pounds from somebody. It might not have to be a person. It could be from a loan, a high street loan from your bank or from an institution, or it could be to cash out on your other investments. So either way, you're using other people's money, not directly from your pocket, but you raise this amount of money. So if you're raising this money from your investors, so normally they would expect you to pay them a good interest. So now we all know that the bank's interest rate is probably less than 2% a year. Anything above that you can offer your investor would be a much better rate of return for the investor. And so you're now using OPM. So when the property goes up in value again after a few years, you refinance, get your original amount of money back and pay back your friends. So the end result is now no money down. So method number 3, this time, it requires more skills because you now need to negotiate the instant discount today. So in other words, you're not going to wait a few years for the property to go up in value. What we're doing now is that we want to get an instant discount. We're buying the property at below the market value. So the rule of thumb is, if the property is worth 100,000, you buy it for 80,000, which incidentally, the 20% discount is equivalent to the amount of deposit you will have to put down if you were to buy the property for 100,000, right? So if you get the same amount of discount as the amount of deposit you will have to put in this case you buy for 80,000, you can do something what we call instant refinance. When we say instant, it depends on the country in which you operate. Some countries will allow you to immediately, upon completion, you buy for 80,000, you refinance based on 100,000, because after all, that's the market value of the property. So you get your deposit back immediately. In the UK, before 2008, 2009, around that period, we used to be able to refinance on the same day. But now the rule has completely changed. You have to wait 6 months. But not always true. For those students of mine who study with me, they look into commercial finance, which is very different from the high street banks that offer buy-to-let mortgages. And a lot of commercial lenders would consider instant refinance as well, but that's for another day. So method number 3 is buy BMV and refinance as quickly as possible. Now method number 4 is a completely different thing. If you've ever watched my other videos, you'll understand that it is possible to acquire, is the word, acquire properties without using mortgage financing deposit. But you're not actually buying the property, you're controlling it using an instrument like lease option that will allow you to take over the seller's mortgage payment, but you have an option to buy the property at a price that we fixed today for the next 5, 10, 15 or 20 years even. So the end result is that you get the capital appreciation and you get the cash flow coming in every single month after you pay the seller's mortgage, and the end result is that it's like having a mortgage but it's completely no money down. So 4 methods, just to recap. Number 1, buy today and wait for it to go up in value, and then you refinance, get your money back, and that takes the longest. Number 2, you buy at number 2, you actually use other people's money and use that as a deposit, and then you get a mortgage and you pay your investor a good rate of return, and then afterwards you refinance after a few years and you pay back the investor. Number 3, you do an instant refinance through buying the property at below the market value. And number 4 is you control the property using something like lease options. So I hope you find that useful. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure you click on the link. I'll be doing a lot more videos, giving you a lot more tips. So I'll see you next time.